Well, a happy Friday to everyone. Hope you've had a good week and are doing well. Got a few things to get to today before we have our little story time and our groaner. The first is a reminder that July 23rd in Winnipeg, Manitoba at St. Vitel's Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. there is going to be a YouTube creators meet and greet. And just hope you can make it. Realize there's a lot of you that live too far away to do it and to make it feasible, but those of you who live close and can be there, look forward to meeting you. At 12 noon there will be a potluck lunch, and so you can come and partake of some food and enjoy the fun. Alrighty, number 2. A while back you'll remember I had a mail call from Hans of Obelisk Magnet Fishing, and he sent me this beautiful kettle. I don't know if I gave you a real good look at it. Little bell there. Lovely kettle. And I said in the video that we'd need to give it a name. And a few people picked up on that and responded giving me some names. And so far I have 5 suggested names. The first one is Spot, and that was suggested by Jim from MD Melbourne. The second was Tick, which was an acronym for Train Cow Kettle, and that was suggested by Scott from On Location with Scott. The third was Moonshine, and that was suggested by Eddie from Boogie 808. The third one was Jigsaw, suggested by Tom from Cheshire Metal Detecting. And the most recent one was Tina, suggested by Frank from Frank and Tina, to which I responded to him that he might be spending some time on the couch, if Tina sees that. Anyway, well, why am I bringing that up? Well, I decided that let's make this into a giveaway contest. So, if you are interested in being in the giveaway, haven't yet decided on the prize, but if you're interested in being in the giveaway, give a suggestion for a name for our kettle. And we will have a draw. I'll give each name a number, and we'll break out the Select-O-Matic 2000, which those of you who have been watching this channel for any length of time are familiar with. We'll break out the Select-O-Matic 2000 and we'll draw a winner. And the winner gets the honor of having their name given to the kettle and having a prize or a thank you gift, however you want to look at it, sent to them in the mail. Alrighty, so if you have a good suggestion for a name for the kettle, include it in your comments below, and I'll add you to the list, give your name a number, and we'll see who that is. And we'll probably do that draw next Friday. So get your names in before we'll make the cutoff noon Thursday. Have your suggested name for the kettle in by noon on Thursday next week. And on Friday we'll do the draw and see whose name gets to be put on the kettle and who will be getting a parcel in the mail. That's our business for today. Now let's get to the interesting stuff, shall we? Well, when we talk about the women of history, there are certain names that automatically come to mind. Lady Godiva. How about Joan of Arc? Martha Washington. Betsy Ross. Laura Secord. Well, those are a few of the names. But I bet the name that popped into all of your minds first as soon as I said ladies in history was Eliza Lucas. Right? You all went, oh, don't forget Eliza Lucas. You didn't? Well, how come? Well, let's find out some more about Eliza Lucas, shall we? In 1738, British Major George Lucas, his wife and 2 daughters left Antigua in the West Indies and sailed to South Carolina to take possession of 3 plantations which George had inherited. The following year, Major Lucas returned to Antigua to rejoin his army regiment. The eldest daughter, 16-year-old Eliza, was left in charge of Mrs. Lucas, who was an invalid, her toddler sister, and the management of the 3 plantations, including 20 slaves. Eliza acted as a schoolteacher to her sister and also taught the slave children to read and write, although it was illegal at the time. While other young women were tempted by nearby Charleston's social life, Eliza Lucas was more interested in plants. The Lucas family was land-rich but cash-poor. Rice was the main cash crop, but it wasn't doing well. Eliza had seen indigo grown in the West Indies, and she thought it could do well in South Carolina. So she had her father send her some seeds. Indigo, a plant in the pea family, produces a deep navy blue, color-fast dye, which Levi Strauss later used for his denim. Eliza's first crop was killed by frost. The next year, worms ate the crop. Then production of the dye was sabotaged by her dye master. But Eliza persevered. By 1744, she produced a quality grade of indigo that interested the British government in purchasing it for use in dark blue uniforms. Eliza Lucas became the first American planter to successfully cultivate indigo and produce a marketable dye. She shared her success too, giving seeds to her neighbors. From the late 1740s until the 1770s, indigo was the #1 cash crop in South Carolina. Just before the Revolution, the colony was shipping over 1 million pounds a year to England. As a result, the South Carolina Low Country was wealthier per capita than any of the other colonies. The American Revolution caused the collapse of South Carolina's indigo export business. After the war, the British imported indigo from their West Indian colonies. But for 30 years, Eliza Lucas's experiments had helped sustain the South Carolina economy. When she was 22, Eliza married Charles Pickney, a widower twice her age, but it was a love match. They had 2 sons and a daughter. Eliza continued her agricultural experiments, reviving another interest of hers, silkworm culture. She even made a silk gown for the Queen of England. When her husband died of malaria in 1758, Eliza, at the age of 36, again had to apply her business and agricultural skills to managing property. The American Revolution ruined sales for her plantation's main cash crop, but Eliza Lucas Pickney supported the cause by loaning money to the South Carolina government. Both of her sons fought in the Revolutionary War. Her son Charles was one of the drafters of the Constitution, and her son Thomas served as governor of South Carolina. When she was 70 years old, Eliza Lucas Pickney developed breast cancer. Seeking out the best doctors, she traveled to Philadelphia, where she died on May 27, 1793. At his own request, George Washington served as one of her pallbearers. So there you have it. There's a little history of South Carolina and Eliza Lucas. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you ever wondered about indigo and where that color comes from and the name, it comes from a plant, which is part of the pea family. All right. Now you've had to put up with announcements about meet and greets, announcements about kettle names, a history of South Carolina and Eliza Lucas, and you're saying, enough already! Give us a groaner! All right, a groaner you shall have. Well, John arrived at the pearly gates, and St. Peter greeted him and welcomed him, and said, have you done anything in your life worthy of allowing you to enter? And John said, well, there was this time when I was driving along, I was on vacation, and I was driving along and I passed this roadside place, and I saw a group of Hell's Angels picking on this poor little lady. Oh, really, said St. Peter. Well, what did you do? Well, I stopped, and I got out of my car, and I told them to stop and leave the lady alone. And they all looked at me and laughed. Oh, well, what did you do then? Well, I wasn't going to have it. He says, I picked out the guy that was obviously the leader of this group of Hell's Angels, the biggest, meanest, toughest-looking guy of the bunch, and I walked up to him and I told him to knock it off or he'd have to answer to me. What happened next? Asked St. Peter. Well, he laughed at me. Really? Well, what did you do? Well, I didn't take it. I punched him in the nose, and then I ripped his nose ring right out, and I boxed his ears, and I kicked his motorcycle over. Wow, that was amazing, said St. Peter. And when exactly did this happen? John said, well, about 3 minutes ago. There you go. Hope you've enjoyed the groaner for this week, along with other things. Don't forget to put your suggestion for a name for the kettle in the comments. Get your name entered into the draw for a prize. And don't forget the YouTube Creators Meet and Greet in Winnipeg on July 23rd. You can check out more information on that at Driveshaft Drew's channel. I'll include a link in the description box. Until Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, take care, stay safe, and God bless.